from the Lakeside Newsroom of the Henrico Citizen, your hometown news source since 2001. This is the Henrico News Minute with publisher Tom Lapis.
COVID numbers in Henrico continue to rise. A West End school has to close for 2 days because of the virus. And how will this affect the school system's planned reopening November 30th? We've got details in today's Henrico News Minute. It's Thursday, November 12th, 2020. Today's News Minute is brought to you by Commonwealth Catholic Charities and Henrico Area Mental Health.
And now for the news.
A Henrico school is closed today and tomorrow after 3 confirmed cases of COVID-19 within the past 2 weeks and an additional potential exposure recently. Pemberton Elementary will reopen on Monday following deep cleaning and disinfecting. It'll be the second time a Henrico school has closed because of COVID. Verina High School closed for 2 days in August after 2 cases were reported there. Now, today already was scheduled to be an asynchronous learning day district-wide, and Friday is a student-teacher holiday. Anyone who picks up curbside meals at Pemberton should stop next door at Quioccasin Middle School. The school's drive-through supply pickup, scheduled this week, has been delayed until Monday from 3 to 5 p.m. Well, it's been 3 weeks exactly since the Henrico School Board voted to allow students to begin returning to school in person November 30th as part of a 4-phased approach. And in that time, the incidence of COVID-19 cases in the county has increased significantly. The school board will meet again today beginning at 1 p.m. and is scheduled to hear an update from its health committee and perhaps from Superintendent Amy Cashwell as well. Yesterday, the number of average new daily cases of COVID in Henrico during a 7-day period reached its all-time high of more than 55, a 79% increase from October 22nd when the school board voted. And it was the second time this week that the county had set a new record high in that category. The total number of new cases per 100,000 people in the county within a moving 14-day period also is up dramatically, more than 60% from October 22nd. It now sits at almost 213 and is classified as highest risk by the Virginia Department of Health. Yesterday, Henrico School Board Chairman Roscoe Cooper III told me that board members are well aware of the divide among community members who support the in-person return and those who believe it's not safe for anyone to go back, particularly as COVID numbers climb. He said he was interested to hear the information that will be presented to the board at today's meeting by the Health Committee and Cashwell, adding, quote, "One thing I appreciate about our board and our staff is that if we have to pivot, we will. We said it from the very beginning. We still mean that and we're open to it," end quote. He's referring to the possibility of reverting back to virtual learning if COVID numbers continue increasing. A group of teachers and supporters who believe that now is not the time to return to school in person is planning what they call a rally against reopening November 17th at 5:30 p.m. They'll march about a half a mile from the Glen Eagles Shopping Center on Ridgefield Parkway to Godwin High School around the corner. Now, school system officials are working this week to complete and compile the responses to student and staff intent surveys that asked families to indicate whether they would send their students back in person or not, and asked employees whether they'd come back or seek accommodations to continue teaching virtually, seek leave time, resign, or retire. Once those results are final, officials at individual schools will have a better ability to make class-by-class plans depending upon how many students and teachers are returning. The Citizen obtained a report Tuesday that appears to show partial school-by-school results from the student portion of the intent survey. The data indicated that only 13 of the county's elementary, middle, and high schools would see at least half of their students return in person, while at 28 other schools, 1/3 of the students or less were planning to return. The data included results from about 30,000 of the school system's nearly 49,000 students. According to the report, there were 9 schools, all in the West End, that had received responses from 90% or more of their student body at the time the data was compiled. At Tuckahoe Elementary School, with a response rate of 91%, nearly 85% of families said they plan to send their students back. No other mainstream school in the county indicated a percentage higher than 64%. That was at Tuckahoe Middle. Well, currently, Virginia's Central Health District planning region, which includes Henrico and a number of other localities as far south as the North Carolina border, has exhibited a substantial or high burden level during each of the past 5 weeks, according to the VDH. Henrico School's website indicates that that level of burden would result in implementation of the second of 4 possible learning approaches, wherein most students would attend classes virtually, but schools would be open on a limited basis for some students. That's more strict than the current approach during the first 9 weeks, during which most students are learning virtually, but smaller groups are attending in person. And it's much stricter than the approach the board approved October 22nd, which is designed for low burden situations, according to the school system's website. You can read my complete article on this topic right now at henricocitizen.com by clicking education, and be sure to stay tuned today for my complete coverage from today's school board meeting.
Every 12 minutes, a Virginian dies from an opioid overdose.
Every 12 minutes.
Opioid overdoses are on the increase in Henrico. Yes, the opioid epidemic is still impacting residents in Henrico.
But you can help.
To find out what you can do, go to bouncebackHC.com.
That's bouncebackHC.com. Knowledge is power, including learning about naloxone. That's naloxone, which can temporarily reverse the toxic effects of an opioid or heroin overdose.
Get informed, get help, save a life.
Go to bouncebackHC.com. That's bouncebackHC.com.
To equip yourself with the knowledge to help our residents and the community of Henrico County against the opioid epidemic.
Knowing what to do will allow you to be prepared to save a life. Go to bouncebackHC.com today.
That's bouncebackHC.com or call 804-727-8515.
That's 804-727-8515, directly for substance abuse
This
services.
message is sponsored by Henrico Area CSB Prevention Services.
For the 6th time already this month, the Virginia Department of Health yesterday reported 50 or more cases of COVID-19 in Henrico. Yesterday's total was 59. That brings the county's overall total of confirmed cases during the pandemic to more than 7,000. The VDH also reported 6 new COVID-related hospitalizations in Henrico and the deaths of a person in his or her 60s and 1 person over the age of 80 in Henrico. The county's 7-day positivity percentage continues a steady upward climb. It reached 5.9% as of November 7th. Elsewhere, 2 West End schools reported cases of COVID-19 on Wednesday. Freeman and Glen Allen High Schools each reporting 1 case. For Freeman, it was the 4th case in the past 4 months, 1 each month since August. It was confirmed Wednesday in an employee who was last in the building November 6th. No one else at the school is believed to have been exposed. The Glen Allen case occurred in a person who was last at the school October 29th during an outdoor event. It was the school's first confirmed case. The new cases bring to 67 the total number reported now at a total of 42 different Henrico schools since August 12th. Well, the Henrico Health Department will offer free drive-through COVID-19 testing at 3 community events in the county next week. The first will be held November 16th at Parham Road Baptist Church from 2 to 4 p.m. The second will be held the next day at the Eastern Henrico Health Department from 10 a.m. to noon. Only 50 tests are available at that location and registration is required. The third will be held November 19th at Regency Square Mall in the parking deck from 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. To register for any event, call 205-3501 between 8 and 5 on weekdays. COVID-19 has pushed Henrico Public Schools enrollment down by about 1,400 students, according to data that will be presented to the Henrico School Board at today's work session. As of September 30th, the total enrollment was 48,982. That's about 140 more than the unofficial count that the school system had released in late September. It represents a decline of about 1,420 students from last year. The total enrollment is Henrico's lowest since 2012, when it was lower by just 1 student than it is this year. The effects of COVID have caused some families to hold rising kindergartners back at a higher than normal rate, and others to homeschool their children or enroll them in private schools. The county's kindergarten enrollment total of just more than 3,000 is down nearly 600 students from last year, according to the data, while nearly 300 more students departed for private schools and almost 520 more left the system to be homeschooled. There were several schools who lost students at what appeared to be a disproportionate rate from others, including Knuckles Farm Elementary, which lost 95 students compared to its projected total this year, Moody Middle School, which lost 91, Tuckahoe Elementary, which had 75 fewer students than expected, and Pinchbeck Elementary, which had 67 fewer. Only 5 of Henrico's 46 elementary schools reported enrollments higher than projections, and only one of those, Ash Elementary, with 67, reported being more than 17 students over projection. Data also shows the school system's continued transition to a majority-minority student population during the past decade, with the populations of Asian, Hispanic, and other minority students rising between 48 and 68% during that time, while the number of white students decreased by 21%. In 2011, whites composed 45% of the system's student population. Now they compose just 35%, while those described as Asian, Hispanic, and other compose nearly 30% today compared with just 18% then. Racial imbalances remain evident in a number of schools. 11 have student populations that are 80% or more black, while 4 have populations that are 70% or more white. 3 are more than 50% Asian. The school with the highest percentage of white students is Tuckahoe Elementary at 92%. Ratcliffe Elementary in Eastern Henrico has the highest percentage of black students at almost 94%, while River's Edge Elementary at 65% Asian has the highest percentage of Asian students in the county. Johnson Elementary with 49% has the highest percentage of Hispanics. Skipwith Elementary is arguably the county's most diverse school, with about 27% black students, 23% white, 23% Asian, and 23% Hispanic. Today's Henrico News Minute has been brought to you by Commonwealth Catholic Charities. Change the world for a teen who needs you. Become a foster parent. Learn about Commonwealth Catholic Charities' International Foster Care Program today. Call 804-545-5949 or visit cccofva.org to learn more.